everyone. Welcome to the SourceAbled LinkedIn Career Chat session. I'm Roshaunda Green and I'm your host. And I'm an account manager for diversity and inclusion at Wrangham, where I worked on the SourceAbled team. And today's topic will be interview preparation tips for all you job seekers out there. So let me share a little information about SourceAbled. So at SourceAbled, we focus on attracting qualified candidates with autism, neurodivergence, and disabilities, and connecting them with clients who have autism at work programs or provide accommodations to help them succeed in the workplace. So if you're a candidate with autism, neurodivergence, or disabilities, please visit sourceable.com, set up your candidate profile, and if you're a service or support provider, please set up your corporate account and start sending us some great candidates today. And you can also see all the jobs that we post on sourceable.com. And I would like to share this awesome resume sweepstakes contest that we have going on until July the 1st. So in order to win some great prizes, all that you have to do is create your SourceAbled candidate profile, upload your resume on sourceable.com, and also follow SourceAbled on all of our social media platforms. So that's LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So we're choosing winners to win some great prizes. So hopefully you're one of those winners. And here are some great prizes that we have. So we have a camera cover for your laptop or computer with our SourceAbled logo on it. We also have a wine aerator, and we also have a cup. And we're getting more prizes, so hopefully you can, register your candidate profile and be selected to win some great prizes. So let's get right into those interview preparation tips. Preparation. You just can never prepare enough, because when you're properly prepared, that really sets you up for success in your interview. So what I would recommend you do is to work with your job coach, service or support provider, or your caregiver to help them to research the company that you want to work for. So they have some great information on the career page where they'll tell a lot of the job seekers information about the mission, the vision, the focus for, different departments, and maybe even share some great initiatives or projects they have going on. You may be able to get some highlights from different executives in different departments to let them know what type of candidates they're looking for. So also always do your research on the company so that you can share that information during the interview. And that you are making sure that you're applying for jobs for companies that align with your vision and your mission and your skill set. So you can do that by doing your research and properly preparing. And all I can say is practice. Practice makes perfect. So you can just turn your phone on, go to video, and record yourself interviewing. The same thing you would do in an interview. Talk about your resume and your work experience. Talk about the different, things in the job description that align with your experience and your background, and really focus on how you're going to successfully execute these tasks in the job description. So you just want to really get a flow. You can even, do a Google search on interview questions, and they'll pull up some behavioral interview questions, or I know out there I've seen the top 99 interview questions, and start just going through those interview questions with yourself and recording yourself so that you get comfortable with it and that you're prepared to interact, whether it's a virtual interview or a face-to-face interview. And this will really help you even practice with someone. So if you are a candidate with autism, neurodivergence, and disabilities, and you want to practice your interview with your job coach, with your support or service provider, or your caregiver, just have someone to ask you some of the interview questions that you research. You really want to get comfortable and really get good with your storytelling abilities to be able to articulate your skill set. Okay. And I know that, people, kind of have different opinions about your presence, but I believe that you should always, dress professionally and according to the job that you're interviewing for. And the reason I say this is because I know that if you're applying for industrial jobs and they may have you go on a tour of the warehouse, they'll ask you to wear steel-toed boots. They may ask you to wear jeans and a comfortable shirt because you will be in the warehouse environment. Now that's a different situation. If you're applying for a corporate job, they'll usually want you to dress professionally. And then sometimes they'll let you know our work environment is really casual. So, we do let people wear jeans and, t-shirts here. So they'll even let you know, if you can come dressed more, business casual. But always ask that question because you want to be prepared. So whatever industry you're in and whatever, the workplace environment is, just ask, that question about your dress. But usually playing it safe, unless you're in an industrial environment, you want to dress professionally. Okay. And when I talk about storytelling, what I'm really focusing on is your ability to really connect that corporate environment with your workplace experience and that job description. So those three things should be included in all of your responses and communication and storytelling during your interview. So I know for me, what I do is I'll actually have the job description and I'll, pull certain things out of that job description that align directly with my resume so that when I'm going through my resume, I can touch on those things. So what you're doing is showing them how you'll execute these tasks in the workplace, your previous experience, and that you're comfortable and you understand what they're looking for. Because during the interview, the hiring manager or the recruiter, or the team, because they'll have team members interviewing you, they want to see, if we hire you, how will you execute these tasks? How will you work with our team? They'll even, really focus on seeing you in the workplace. So the whole time you're interviewing, you should be talking, like you're already working and these are some things that you'll do. So you can't do that unless you've done your research, unless you practice, unless you feel, a comfort level while you're going through that interview. So with that, I would also, share that during that research part, you should also be on LinkedIn, looking at that company and seeing other people that work in that department and looking at some of the things that they're executing in the role that you're interviewing for, because that would really help you to connect with that hiring manager so that they see there's some existing projects or some, frequent tasks that you'll be doing, that you understand that scope and you understand, what they're looking for in regards to a successful execution. So with that storytelling, that research goes hand in hand with that, because right now you're coming to the table with your resume, right? But you have to be able to tie in that job description, those executed tasks that people are doing who already exist in that role, and understanding that company culture, vision, and mission. All these things just build up to preparing you to successfully interview for that role. And I cannot say this enough, to test. So if it's Zoom, so if you're doing a virtual interview, which a lot of people are doing now due to COVID, so if it's Teams, if it's Microsoft Teams, or if it's Zoom, or if it's WebEx, whatever portal that the company is using, to conduct your virtual interview, you need to test that technology. So don't wait until 10 minutes before the interview and you're trying to download the technology or you're trying to set it up. Actually, as soon as they send you that meeting request, then you need to go download it, test it, make sure your lighting is right, make sure your background is professional, make sure that you're able to control your noise, right? So like for me, I have my headset in, or you go in a quiet room. All these things that you want to do, you should not be doing that right before the interview. And because you always want to show up for your interview, just like if you were physically showing up for an interview, for your virtual interviews, you want to really be there no less than 15 minutes early, because you want to have time to get comfortable and to set up. And even in a virtual interview, even if you're waiting in the room, then that's fine. But you don't want to be you don't want the hiring manager or the recruiter to beat you to the interview. That's a bad sign, because that's already showing people that you may have a time management problem, or that you don't prepare properly, or that you are not, ready. So those are all bad signs that count against you. And remember, everything you do in your interview is going to get you closer to being an employee or further away from being an employee. So you want to make sure that you're doing the things that's getting you closer to being an employee at that company. And another thing, so when you're going in early to set up your technology, a lot of times they'll have virtual backgrounds that you can download, or you're checking your speaker and your microphone and you're getting your lighting right. So these are all things that will help you feel more confident and more prepared during your interview. Right? Because one of my mottos that I always say is I like to stay ready so I don't have to get ready. And in staying ready, that always takes preparation. And preparation is in testing is part of that preparation. So you're doing all these things so that you can be waiting for on whatever that virtual platform is, or if you're doing a physical interview, you're waiting in the waiting room. But they take note of when you show up. They take note of, how prepared you are. All of these things help you to stand out as a better candidate. And your documents, right? Because I've been talking about your research and your storytelling and your preparation. So the documents that I recommend that you need for your interview, you definitely need an updated resume. And that updated resume should definitely have some of those keywords that they're looking for that's in that job description. So update or customize that resume for every job you apply for. I strongly recommend that. You should also have the job description. And even for the job description, I'll go in and put different, I'll edit my job description so that I'm calling out different things that are in my resume or in my skill set, so that when I'm going through the job description, I'm able to talk about those things. And also my company research. And I'll pull, like I said, from that career page, or going through the company's LinkedIn, and their website. I'll have all that information. So what I'll do is a trick that I've been doing for virtual interviews is that I'll have a split screen. I have several split screens. So I'll have my resume minimized, and then I'll have the job description, and then I'll have the company research, so that I can pay attention, and look at the camera, making sure my eyes are focused on the camera. But then I can seamlessly, navigate through the 3 documents that I have on my screen. Now, if I'm doing an on-site interview, I'll bring my portfolio and I'll have my resume, and then I'll find out how many people that I'm interviewing with, and I'll bring my copies of resumes for them too. I just don't assume that they have it. And then I'll have my job description and my company research, and I'll try to keep those papers organized so that I can seamlessly flow through it. And always have questions. right? You should never get to the end of your interview, and when that hiring manager or that recruiter will ask you, do you have any questions for me? You should always have questions, and don't just wait to go through the interview and try to jot down questions as they're talking, which is good too, right? But that may not, you may not get questions out of their, out of their discussion. So you come to the resume with interview questions. And from that, you should be able to kind of look at that job description, that company research that you've conducted, and you should be able to pull some questions out of there. And then you can Google interview questions, and then you can be very specific and Google interview questions based off of your industry or off of your job level, entry level interview questions, or engineering or IT or human resources, or pharmaceutical or clinical, any industry. You can go and specifically find interview questions, and then you can pull the interview questions that makes the best sense for your interview. And you should always send a thank you note for, every interview. So what I'll usually do if I'm doing an on-site interview, they'll usually give you the name of the person that you're interviewing, and I'll customize a thank you note for each person that's going to be interviewing me. Now, if you're doing virtual interviews, you just if you don't have the hiring managers or the person who interviewed you, if you don't have their email address, then you can send the email address to your thank you note to the recruiter's email address and ask them to pass it on to the different people that you're interviewing with. And you want to do that very quickly, right? Because the interview process usually moves very fast, and you want to make sure that you are going through your checklist, and everything that you're doing is helping you to stand out as a good candidate. Like I said, everything's getting you closer to be an employee or further away to being an employee through your interview process. So again, we're focusing on doing your research, practicing your interview, have a professional presence based off of the industry that you're interviewing in. Like I said, for warehouse, that would be a different interview attire that you would wear. Get your storytelling abilities down, test all your technology, have all your documents with you, and always, give a thank you note or send a thank you email after the interview. And those are some things that you just need to focus on for all of your interviews. So this is a career chat session. So I'm focusing on providing those job seekers with everything that you need for this session. So I actually have some great jobs that we're interviewing for right now. So we do have some pharmaceutical jobs in Jacksonville, Florida. We have some warehouse jobs in Middletown and Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. We have a senior .NET developer, machine learner, artificial intelligence developer, and a UX designer role in Somerset, New Jersey. We have data entry roles in Elgin, Illinois. We have network service program roles in Rahway, New Jersey. We have document processor roles in Toronto, Ontario, Bellevue, Michigan, Los Angeles, California, Binghamton, New York, Louisville, Kentucky, and Charlotte, North Carolina. And we also have equipment operator roles in Chicago, Illinois. And we have 10 new roles that are all aligned in IT, and 6 of them are remote. And the other jobs are in multiple locations. So we just got those jobs in, and we should have them on our site next week. So we literally just received them, but I'm really excited because they're all IT, and I really like that the majority of them are remote, which is amazing. Okay. And I just want to read some of our job descriptions for some of the roles we had, right? So I shared that we had a pharmaceutical job in Jacksonville, Florida. Well, one of the roles that we have is an inspection operator. And for this role, you'll be responsible for receiving and inspecting and repackaging products. And for one of the warehouse roles, because we actually have a lot of warehouse roles out there, but one of the warehouse roles is an assembler role, and you must have experience assembling, boxing, and lifting. And those roles are in Middletown and Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. And for we have a procurement project manager role in New Brunswick, New Jersey. And for that job description, we want you to be able to develop a project plan, track deliverables and budget, support data and analytics, and process flow mapping. Okay. And we also have a data entry specialist role. We have a lot of them, actually. We have 100 of those roles that we're filling in Elgin, Illinois, and you'll be responsible for data keying, and you're expected to maintain high levels of productivity and accuracy. And I know for sure that for the keystrokes for that, they're looking at 8,000 keystrokes per hour for that role. Okay. And then we also have an incident manager role in Rahway, New Jersey. And we want you to be able to ensure that the ITIL V3 procedures are used to handle all incidents to minimize the impact of the client service quality. Okay. And for the document processor role that we have in Toronto, Ontario, Bellevue, Michigan, Los Angeles, California, Binghamton, New York, and Louisville, Kentucky, and Charlotte, North Carolina. So the job description for this role is document review, preparation, processing, remittance, and transaction processing, and data entry. Okay. And for the equipment operator role in Chicago, Illinois, you need to be able to operate an industrial scanning machine. So those are some of our jobs, and those are some of the descriptions. Those are just a few. You can go to SourceAbled.com and you can see the rest of our jobs that are active. You can always, two things, if you apply for a job, you can still email Roshaunda@Wrangham.com your resume and the job that you applied for. Or if you go to SourceAbled.com and you don't see any jobs that align with your skill set, you can email Roshaunda@Wrangham.com and request an informational interview. Send me your resume, 3 job titles that you work in, 3 zip codes that you're interested in, your minimum pay rate, and 3 dates and times that you're available. And as soon as I receive that email, I'll schedule your informational interview and I'll conduct a job search with you. So I always have that option open to any of the candidates. And please feel free to contact me if you have any questions or need additional information about anything that I shared during this chat session today. So I'm on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and Clubhouse, and TikTok. So you can see me on any of those social media platforms. So again, thank you for joining the chat and have a great day.